What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ro. I'm back with a new series. This series we're calling Behind the Beat. This is going to be a series where I kind of break down my creative process and how I go about creating different types of beat, styles of beat, different genres, creating certain sounds, getting certain elements out of a song that I want to get. All right. This is going to be a fairly short series, so the episodes are going to be fairly short. So if you want to hear more about the technical things, what software programs and things I'm using, drop those questions in the comments, and I'm gonna get back to you as soon as I can. But this first episode, the pilot episode, we're gonna be talking about Afrobeat, what I believe is one of the rising genres in pop culture today. So I'm gonna break down how I've been creating Afro beats in this first pilot episode. Stay tuned. Bow. All right, so probably the most popular Afrobeat artist out right now is Burna Boy. So I've been listening to some of his music to kind of get a sense of what popular Afrobeat is. By the way, there's many different styles of Afrobeat. There's Afro funk, Afro jazz, Afrobeat, Afro pop. There's all these different type of variations of Afrobeat. I'm going to use the term Afrobeat to just speak about what's the most popular style right now that's out. So one of the things that I've noticed about some of Burna Boy's music and some of the Afro beats that I like to listen to is they kind of have soulful chords as the foundation of the record, but then they're playing them at certain cadences to make them sound more West Indian, almost dance hall, almost reggae like. But the very root of the chord is very R&B and very soulful. So for this track, I'm just gonna play the chords so you can kind of see where I'm going, and then I'm just going to actually play what I actually recorded. So this is basically the foundation of the track, right? Basically like 4 chords. If you could tell me what song this is, you got a good ear, right? Classic song, right? And I'm playing it very, very simple because with Afro beats, you don't really need to get too fat with your chords. You just keep it simple. So that's basically the basic undergirder, if I could use that term, of the track, and then we're gonna build around that. So here is all of those chords with the style and the sound that I'm using to play them. So I did the first layer using a guitar. Right, and I use a lot of live instrumentation. I try not to get too digital with the instruments that I use. I try to keep them to sound like the actual instruments that they are, except for I start to get into some synth as well too, because I want to bring it to 2020. Right, I don't want to make it sound like it's a 90s record. So I'm gonna fatten up that guitar with a string pad and a bass pad, and I'm just gonna layer those 3, and that's gonna be the bed that the rest of the track is going to be built around. Notice I also added a bass pad to that part of the track, and I kept the bass fairly simple because my intention is to have the percussion do most of the movement and maybe a lead sound do most of the movement. So I'm going to keep all of the other instruments fairly straightforward so that I make room for something else to move around. Because if I have too many instruments moving around, that's not really what I'm seeing in a lot of the Afro beats. I'm seeing the percussion doing most of the moving around. So I'm going to try to build the style of this record the same way. All right. So now I'm going to add my lead, which is going to basically be like a vocal effect. So it's kind of like telling a singer what direction they can possibly go vocally. So there's my lead. It's kind of giving the song some direction now, and you can already kind of hear where the track is going right at this point. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to add some percussion to this. And and you're going to see the percussion start to do a little bit more movement than everything else. And then we're going to drop the entire kick, drum, snare, and all that stuff in sequence. All right, so let's get some of these other sounds in here. That's going to bring color to this. So we got our chime in there. And again, that's just from the R&B feel that I got from this. So the chime made sense. That's just my preference. That's not, you know what I mean? You can do how you do it. Then you got your classic like reggae, West Indian, Jamaican, rim shot roll. You know, again, that just brings it back to Afro dancehall. One of the things I noticed with dancehall and Afrobeat is like that snare is always like a little offbeat. It's usually on the and. So if you think about a 4-count measure, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. A lot of times you find that snare is on the and. It's not necessarily on the first beat. You know what I mean? Gives it that off snare feel. So it's like, you know, you get that effect. An instrument that I always use on every single one of my Afro beats is a shake. It's just my preference. It kind of replaces a hi-hat. So typically you would hear a hi-hat in a lot of my beats. For these type of sounds, I like to use a shake or some type of maraca or something like that to kind of create the hi-hat effect. Right? You hear where this is going already. Then I'm gonna add some horns. Again, I wanted to keep some live feeling instrumentation in this. I think that's kind of unique to me in the sense that I tend to want to put some instrument, whether it's 1 instrument, 2 instruments, 3 instruments, or whatever, that have a live feel to it. So I incorporated some horns in here, and I'm gonna just let you hear what the horns are doing really fast. So I don't know if you can hear that. Turn it up a little bit. Okay, so my horns are not super loud, and I have them panning left to right in the headphones. So they're panning like this. They're not meant to stand out. It's just something in the back end of the track to add a little color. And that's pretty much our song. We just gotta drop the beat now, right? Oh, one other instrument. I put a chant in here. Again, this is to bring the track to 2020, right? If you listen to a lot of pop records, a lot of dancey records, vocal chants is like one of the most popular instruments now. There's a vocal chant somewhere in the song that's doing something that, you know, kind of replaces an instrument. So here's my vocal chant that kind of goes with the record. And then we're just going to drop the whole beat on top of it. I didn't want to go through every single aspect of the beat because I want to keep this short. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much our beat, man. You know, Afro beats are dope in the sense that, especially like the more modern Afro beat is dope in the sense that if you get your percussion right, you could almost do anything on top of it. You know, if you get the percussion timing right, if you go and listen to some of the popular Afro beats and you could capture the percussion cadence and the timing of it and how they're laying down the different sounds, you could put any chords or any style on top of it, and it'll almost pass as an Afrobeat, the way they're coming out now. I mean, if you talk to somebody from Nigeria, South Africa, and these type of places, they'll probably tell you that's not Afrobeat. But if you listen to what's popular and what they're calling Afrobeat, then that's like another thing, right? So yeah, man, thanks for checking the video out. I'm gonna keep playing the track so y'all can check it out, man.